What's up, dudes? Welcome to lesson 19. Hey, where'd I go? I'm over here. Uh, Lesson 19 for Module 4, and today we're talking about conversions. We're converting measurements involving whole numbers and solving multi-step word problems. Uh, so today we've kind of gone over this already. We've done something similar, and so it shouldn't be too simple. We're just trying to think about fractions and word problems and solving conversions of measurements, and that's not bad as long as you know your basic standard conversions. You should be okay. So let's go ahead. Let's start off with a problem. Let me pull this guy up here. This is 30 centimeters. And we want to find out how many meters that would be. So if we're taking a look at something like this, we're looking at, we're going from something small in centimeters to something bigger in meters. And what I want to do right away is just kind of take a guess. If I'm talking about 30 centimeters, they're going to be more or less than 1 meter. Well, I know that that's going to be less because I know there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter, and so 30 would be much less than that. With 30 centimeters, would it be greater or less than 1/2 of a meter? Half a meter would be 50 centimeters. So I'm thinking 30 centimeters is going to be even less than a half, right? So as we're doing this, if we take this, I'm going to say I have 30 centimeters. That's basically like saying I have 30 copies of 1 centimeter, isn't it? I have 31 centimeters. And what I need to do is I need to think in terms of centimeters. Well, what fraction of a meter is 1 centimeter? Because I want to say that 1 centimeter is the same as saying how many meters. And what I need to do is I need to think about how many centimeters are in 1 meter. Well, there's 100, right? And if I have one of them, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter is the same as saying I have 1/100th of a meter. Okay, so what we've just done is we've just converted our centimeter, or something small, into something big by assigning it a fraction, by saying it's the same as 1/100th. So now I'm saying basically I have 30 copies of 1/100th of a meter. And if I'm doing that, I'm basically saying, 30 times 1 over 100, like that, right? I'm saying if I have 30 ones, I have 30 1/100ths of a meter. Now, I can go about reducing that. If I have zeros, I can just cross a zero off from the bottom and the top. I can see I have 3/10ths, and that's 3/10ths of a meter. And if I take a look at that and take a look at my initial guess of saying, well, 30 centimeters was like less than half of a meter, yeah, that would be right? Because 3/10ths is definitely less than a half. If I'm thinking in terms of a half, 5/10ths would be a half, right? So that's definitely less, and my original assessment was correct. And I was able to do that. Just to recap, I had 30 centimeters, and I wanted to turn it into meters. I have 31 centimeters, is the same as saying that, 31 centimeters. And I can say 1 centimeter is the same as 1/100th of a meter. Once I have that, I can multiply that by 30 to get 30/100ths, and I can reduce that down to my answer of 3/10ths of a meter. Okay. Let's take a look at the next problem then. Another problem, another way of looking at this would be 9 inches. And that's saying that's how many feet. Okay? 9 inches is how many feet. Once again, I'm going from something small in inches to something bigger in feet. And I know that 9 inches is going to be less than 1 foot. It's going to be more than a half a foot? Yeah, it will. Half of a foot is 6 inches, and 9 is definitely more than that. So let's do this again. Let's say I have 9, and that's like saying I have 9 copies of 1 inch, right? And 1 inch is the same as, I'm going to move this down here, 1 inch is the same as how many feet? What fraction of a foot? Well, how many inches are in 1 foot? There's 12. And so I have 1/12th of a foot would be 1 inch. So now I'm doing the same thing. 9 times 1/12th. If I have 9 1/12ths, then that would mean I have 9/12ths. If I wanted to look at the math behind that, I could peek behind that and see how I have 9 times 1 and 1 times 12. 9 twelfths, I can reduce that. They're both friends with the number 3. And if I count by 3's to get there, 3, 6, 9, that would be 3. And 3, 6, 9, 12, that would be 4. And so I would have 3/4. Now 3/4 of what? Well, we converted inches into feet. And I did a fraction of a foot. And so this would be 3/4 of a foot. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. It's not quite 1 foot. It's more than half of a foot. So I think 3/4 of a foot is a good answer. Just to recap, I had 9 inches. I need to figure out how many feet that was. I go from something small in inches to something bigger in feet. So I know that my answer is going to be less than 1. I have 9 copies of 1 inch. 1 inch is the same as saying 1/12 of a foot. And if I just multiply 9 times 1/12, I get 9/12. And when I reduce that down, I get my final answer of 3/4 of a foot. Awesome. We are doing really good. Let's do another problem here. This one's a word problem. I'm going to type it out. I'll be right back. All right. What's up, Buttercup? Here I am. Koalas will often sleep for 20 hours a day. For what fraction of a day does a koala often sleep? Man, I wish. 20 times 1 hour. That's basically what this is, right? 20 hours. And I'm 20 hours. I want to know what fraction of a day. So my answer is going to be in days. So 1 hour is the same as how many days? Well, how many hours in 1 day? There's 24 of them. So 1 hour will be 1/24 of a day. And I'm going to multiply that by 20. 20 times 1/24 is 20/24 of a day. Now, I can simplify that guy, can't I? Looking at that, there's 2 different ways I can go about thinking about doing this. One, I can cut them in half. They're both even numbers, 20 and 24. So if I cut 20 in half, I'm going to get 10. And if I cut 24 in half, I'm going to get 12. And look at that, again, they're both even numbers, so I can cut those guys in half. 10 in half is 5, and 12 in half is 6. Can't do anything with 5, 6. That sounds good. The other thing I could do is I could say, well, I could count by 4s. And 4 times 5 is 20, so I could say 5. And 6 times 4 is 24, so I could say 6. Either way, I end up with my answer of 5/6 of a day. And my answer is in days in this case. To recap, our question was talking about 20 hours in 1 day. So I had 20 times 1 hour. And I converted hours into days by saying 1 hour was the same as 1/24 of a day. I multiplied 20 times that. I got 20/24 of a day, which I reduced to 10/12, or a total, or a simplified version, which was 5/6 of a day. Cool. Well, let's do one more. It seems like, basically, as long as you understand some of these basics, you should be good to go. If we do 15, well, hey, give me back my color, back my yellow. If we do, let's do this one, 15 inches. Yes, that says inches. Equals how many feet? And basically what I need to do is I need to start off by saying, okay, I have 15, well, boom, 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 15 times 1 inch, right? And then I need to convert inches into feet. It's all about converting that into feet and getting my fraction. So how many inches in how many feet? We know that there's how many inches in a foot? There's 12 inches, and 1/12 is another way of saying 1 inch. 1 inch is 1/12 of a foot. Once I have this 1/12 of a foot, I can multiply it by anything to find out how many inches. I could do it with 28 inches. I could do it with 36 inches. I could do it with 2,842 inches. I could find out what fraction of a foot those all were. Okay? All I need to do is multiply them by 1/12. Now, obviously, we're not doing that. Oh, give me back my eraser. Obviously, we're not doing that. What we are doing is 15 times 1/12. And that's going to end us up with 15/12. Well, I know that 12/12, this is going to be a combination of 12/12 and then 3/12, right? And so this right here, this is a 1. So I know that I'm going to have 1 and 3/12 of a foot. But I feel like I can reduce that. They're both factors of 3. So I'm really going to have one end. If I count by threes, 3 would be 1, and 3, 6, 9, 12 would be 4. So I'm really dealing with 1/4 of a foot. Okay? All right? I think that's it. You guys are good to go. The biggest thing that you need to remember is turn this conversion, turn this smaller unit into the bigger unit by writing out that fraction. You're good to go. No worries, all right? Okay, post any questions or comments. Thanks for watching, and peace out.